Welcome to ETK's Suit Series. Today we have with us Chetna Mehrotra, who wears different hats. She's a dancer, she's a trainer, and she's a consultant, and she has been associated with a great institution called as BNA, and all that. And then most important thing, she comes as a wonderful human being, trying to make difference to children, adolescents, and also managers, and also senior executives across the country. And she's given lots of programs, a lot of training sessions across the country. And we would like to catch up with her the importance of drama as a learning tool. And then also we'll try to extract from her some of the skills that can be practiced at our own lives. Welcome to ETK's Chetna.
Thank you
so
so much.
before we get into any of this nitty-gritties of drama as a storytelling, as a learning tool, how did you got baptized into this, this form of career pursuit? I would say. What is the trigger point?
Sure. So when I was studying in Dehradun,
Right.
I was very active in dance, drama, and all the storytelling sessions we had. My mother had put me in Kathak Dance Institute at the age of 4,
Right.
and I continued it till I was 18 years of age. At about 16 years of age, in 1991, in May, when Rajiv Gandhi was shot dead, my father got me to New Delhi, and he got me enrolled in a course called Theatre in Education with NST, National School of Drama at Mandi House. That, I would say, was the hero of my life.
Right. It must be a turning point.
It was the turning point where I was a very, though in my own city I was very into. But then when Delhi and National School of Drama, I remember the first thing our mentor used to ask us to do was to play football with the boys. It was a boy versus girl team, so that was the first activity of the day.
Right.
And of course the series of what happened in those months had opened me up like a lioness.
Right.
And I got to accept my body, accept my mind, and open my spirit up.
Right.
And that was the starting point of drama getting introduced to me. And then further on, when I finished my college, I wanted to, of course, pursue a career, and my father that time really denied me not to pursue drama. He
Right.
would say, how much? You will only get 500 rupees a play, and you will have these jholas and khadi kurtas. So do something which is more graceful for a lady.
Right.
So I joined a publication house, and through series of job hoppings, I got into training as a career with GENPACT, GE.
Right.
And one of my trainers from the US, Faye, she picked up, she saw that little expression skills in me, and she says, why don't you take up training, and people might like to see you as an entertainer and a trainer, both.
Yeah.
So then when I realized a performance trainer
Nice
for a
blend
trainer,
of-
yes, a performance is very, very important.
Absolutely.
So then I started also taking a lot of inputs from my NSD days,
Right.
and started training people through those methods
Right.
of little bit like role playing, or so there is a concept called dramaturgy or psychodrama. So I started using that, and then I also got certified in a concept called using drama for learning,
Right.
wherein we've been educated in formats of drama, and
Okay.
using that as a learning tool
Right.
for all levels of audience, genders and hierarchies, and wherever a learning space is required, we create drama
Right.
in it,
Right.
and help people to learn.
Very good.
So that's how
You got into this one.
yes.
So what made you getting into Bombay?
Okay. So Bombay was a family shift decision
Okay.
by the family from New Delhi, where I am from Delhi University. I
Right.
did my graduation from there.
Right.
So shift to Bombay was a family decision,
Very good.
job, career
So
shift.
do you enjoy Bombay? And do you think this encourages this drama and this kind of theatrics and things like that? Do you think it is more inclusive, it is more encouraging, that kind of way? Maybe some cities may not be encouraging in the
Yes.
whole of city, in the whole of country. Maybe some cities are very conservative.
Mhm.
So from that point of view, do you think Bombay is more forthcoming, more thoughtful, more progressive? Do you find Bombay much more like that?
Yes, so I like to pick up the last word that you said, progressive,
Right.
in its spirit.
Right.
Well, I was also in Delhi, but Delhi has a very intellectual streak of drama. drama.
Right.
Well, I find in Bombay is more fun, more accepting, more expression oriented, and yes, the people here are very progressive in the way they've accepted this,
Right.
not only as a production to be
Right.
watched,
Right.
but also as a tool to be used for experiential learning.
Right.
And my clients, be it schools or corporates,
Right.
or even open workshops that I do, people really want to experience this as a form
Right.
of learning.
Right. Very good.
Yes.
So let's get to this drama as a learning tool.
Sure.
So when you say drama is a learning tool, so for what kind of people do you think it should be applicable? For example, where I'm coming from is, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong,
Sure.
is that, do you think this can be applied for those people who are lacking some mental faculties, or do you think it should be applied to everyone, even though you might be doing extremely well in studies or in life, but still I think this can be also one complement, that this can complement your other pursuits. So therefore, what kind of people do you think it must be applied?
Well, yes. So I strongly believe and I strongly recommend that everybody should go through a drama
Right.
process,
Right.
because we are all human beings are hardwired to be emotional beings.
Right.
Yes, we have emotions stored up there,
Mhm.
and we cannot deny that.
Mhm.
And with emotions comes the expression,
Right.
the
So
want
you-
for
yeah.
expression.
So
Even
okay.
if you are an introvert, still there will be a want for expression in some form. You might write, you might paint, you might
Absolutely.
just talk to some one person, but there is a want for expression if there are emotions.
Mhm.
Yes. So drama encourages
Mhm.
encourages people to express
Right.
in a way that they are comfortable. So drama
Right.
also takes care of the safety of emotions and the space around. Drama helps people to imagine
Right.
a world which is not in the room.
Mhm.
Drama helps people to also at the same time experience emotions which they have not accepted or felt
Right.
before.
Right.
So it is for everybody, even if you're you're in pre-primary, or if you are a 65-year-old CA or lawyer or anybody. It is through all across all age
So
groups.
is it more of as an expression, drama as an expression, or is it more of a skill? That's more important, because I'm sure maybe you will enunciate somebody, maybe handhold somebody, maybe you'll have so many number of sessions, so therefore you teach them. So the basic point that we're looking at is that, do you think drama as an expression, or do you think it's more of a skill that it comes over over a period of time because somebody practices?
Oh yes, so I feel it is a combination of both.
Okay.
Yes, so yes, it definitely requires a period of time.
Right.
Yes, so these are, and also because drama is it's trying to work at a behavioral level,
Okay.
and behaviors are something which
Unpredictable.
is not an overnight processing.
Right.
They you have to work on them in a way which is subtle, in a way sometimes which is direct,
Right.
but you have to handhold the person for a longer period
Chetna, I
of
think
time.
so therefore, I think the most important
Yeah.
way that we are coming to is, when you say drama as a learning tool, is it to change my own behavior, or can this also be used to change others' behavior?
Yes.
Because that's what I'm interested.
Yes.
Because, for example, let's say I want to introduce. Maybe we'll come to that segment later on.
Mhm.
Let's say, like we said, like you rightly said sometime back, it should be introduced, right? I mean, maybe at the pre-primary level, maybe at a higher education level, and also maybe at a senior level, maybe in
Mhm.
terms of managers and all that. So at some point, people have to be convinced that, yes, do I need to do this? For example, yoga, what is it?
Yes.
When it's more to do with yourself than to doing something else. So similar form, in a similar way, is this drama as a learning tool? Is it to change one's behavior, or can this also be used to influence other behavior?
Yes. So it works. It must work at two layers. So
Right.
it has to first work for you.
Right.
Like when I went through it,
Absolutely.
it worked with me. I mean, it changed the way I behaved
Right.
with my own self and with society at large,
Right.
with people, my relationships,
Right.
my circle of influence.
Right.
And then I realized that through some tools,
Right.
it is also influencing behaviors, or maybe if I might use the word transforming
Right.
behaviors in
Did
others.
you come across that kind of thing?
Yes, there have been numerous instances.
So can you share with
Yes.
us one? I think
Sure.
you were talking about, I think, one gentleman who actually almost broke. I
Yes.
think that. So can you narrate for this, so that
Yes.
people get convinced that, yes, I think it's not just about you changing, but you can also influence other people.
Yes.
Because like you said sometime back, it can act as a mirroring exercise for somebody else. It's
Absolutely. So one of the most powerful instances that I like to share here is I was with a group of head of marketing. There were 12 chosen people from all over India, from a client here in Mumbai. Like I normally blend a lot of art forms. So we blend a lot of art forms like psychodrama in one category. We might have storytelling with drama in one category.
Right.
You might also have arts with
Right.
drama.
Right.
So the session which I conducted was on fear. Yes,
Removing.
fear, just fear for those 12 chosen head of marketing from all over India. And they were, of course, very highly experienced people. And to talk fear in front of them also, I had to build up that courage. Yes.
Right.
So I started with, I am also a dancer, so I introduced, I also work on dance with storytelling. So I enacted a dance piece based on a story
Right.
of which was a made-up story, which I wanted them to understand. And based on that story, we created a psychodrama piece.
Right.
And with psychodrama pieces, we also had props.
Right.
So I gave them material to create props, and they created props. They had balloon props, and so after they created props, I asked them to create a story of who these props are. What are they doing? What is their
Wait,
story?
for each one of them?
Yes, yes. So they were in teams of 4 people.
Okay.
And the theme across was fear. It could be fear of lizards, it could be fear of speaking, it could be fear of numbers.
Right.
And then you become the character. So there is where the drama come in. So they had to come in and act that fear, act those characters.
Right.
When there's this group of people, the second team, the third team, when they came in, they enacted a story, a drama story with the use of props. So it went well, but when the debriefing happened, when we all sat in a circle and we were sharing how we felt through the whole process of making the props.
Right.
So there is an experiential value when you're
Right.
making a prop. There are
Exactly.
subconscious tells you a lot of
Right.
your past which is coming in those props. So one of the gentlemen said, when I was enacting my part, in the drama role,
Right.
I felt a huge shift inside me. And so we don't ask people what is it. So there's a way we ask. And I asked if you're ready to share.
Right.
So he said, when I was enacting that person who was fearful of his boss, I was somewhere connecting my fears as failure as a father.
Very strong.
I feel strongly with my teenage daughter, I am not a good father. And he had tears in his eyes. And he says that failure of fear, every day, it knocks me when I come to work and I feel, am I being good to my teammates? Because
Somewhere
if I
something
am,
on his back of
yes,
his mind.
because if as a father I'm not good, I don't know how I'm good as a team leader.
That was
So that was very moving, and it was a great shift, in that group. And so listening to him, there's another lady who said, my daughter is dyslexic, and I've never spoken to the office about any time. But this whole process has made me speak this. And every day I feel, I have a 50-member team, and I feel, was I failure as a mother? I could not give birth to a normal human being. And I feel, am I going to be a normal, great, or maybe even an average team leader to those 50 people?
right.
So it helped people
Come out of the
emote,
inhibitions.
express an expression which that gentleman said, I've not even spoken to my wife ever. So that space becomes so sacred and so safe for people to
Right.
speak about their emotions.
So I
Yeah.
think if I'm right, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think this drama as a learning tool really helps someone to rediscover themselves,
Yes.
and then also look. I mean, I won't say introspection. Yeah, people might be.
Yes,
but I
they
think
might.
it does that. But I think people have to overcome that.
Yes.
What a little that, which is a very latent fear. Like in this case, maybe if he has not expressed even to his wife or
Mhm.
anyone for that matter, and then if he's able to express someone like you, whom I'm sure for the first time in his life he must be
Yes.
meeting.
Yes.
So if he didn't have that inhibition to share, so it must have created that, that what is it, atmosphere of confidence,
Mhm.
faith, trust, whatever you call
Yes.
it, and therefore he let himself out and say that he gave an expression to that latent thing. So therefore, is it good to say that as somebody can practice seriously, just the way people do it in yoga and things like all this kind of art of living, whatever we call it. So if people can practice very sincerely, the power of drama can be extended to not just to reform yourself, like in fact you use even powerful word, transform yourself, but also you can transform other people. Is it right to say?
Yes, it is so right to say. I would also like to hear talk about the kids that I'm working with.
Absolutely.
Yes, I'm attached to a lot of schools here in Mumbai. I work with the Lokangala Foundation Group, Euro International. There I work as my drama is a part of the curriculum. So it's an everyday class that I walk through all the sections from 4th to about 10th standard, and they have every day, every week they have to go through a drama class once a week, and it was a very powerful, moving emotion when we talked about bullying through drama, and that was one. I remember Standard 5B very categorically, which happened a month ago. We were enacting, there's something called as image theatre in drama,
Right.
where you make groups and you are asked to create a scene of a bully.
Right.
So there are 5 teams, you ask them to create.
Right.
At any point in time, the facilitator can ask them to stop.
Right.
And facilitator can move to any one of the teams, and only that team will start acting again.
Right.
So that's called the freeze frame, and then you tap on one of the characters and say, how are you feeling right now?
Right.
So that's, you are capturing thought. So
Right.
that's called thought tracking theatre in
Right.
drama terminology.
Right.
So when I tapped on that person's shoulder and says, how are you feeling? So I did not know that child used to stammer. So that child started crying. He says, ma'am, right now I am feeling very, very sad because I have been teased by my classmates because I stammer, and for past 2 years I've been wanting to talk to somebody, and when I'm doing this activity, and he was stammering when he was speaking this, he started crying.
Right.
Looking at that, another boy started crying. He says, I have eczema, the skin disease,
Right.
and people tease me that you are abnormal.
Mm-hmm.
And you not believe, in next 5 minutes, the entire class had tears. They said, and I was like, what happened? He says, looking at him, we are reminded of our own bullying cases. There's a child who has his intestine cut, and he cannot you go to the washroom and urinate according to his own voluntary muscles. So he wears nappies still, and the kids tease him. And when we did the bullying in terms of drama, we were enacting. He said, I am experiencing something right now through this act. Can I share? Same Standard 5B. It was moving. It was so moving. Now the principal has asked us to create a special skit on anti-bullying through drama on 14th
I know,
November.
I've seen that. So
Yeah,
there's a
yes,
nice
yes.
thing that has come out. I think it has become a movement kind of thing.
Yes,
Anti-bullying.
yeah. I have named it as drama therapy.
Right.
Because it is a great therapy for people too.
Right. I think it's a right age to sensitize them to all that.
Yes.
I think because as they grow up, I think they sensitize to some of these basic human values. I think
Yes.
their life will be much better, so that they make other people life. So now, in case if we have to, what do you say, put this one as a curriculum. Let's say,
Yes.
let's get into this business schools kind of thing, drama as a learning tool. So how do you propose to do that? Because I think that's the age, because it's almost like every business school is supposed to be also, it is meant to be a practice school, or let's say finishing school, as people say, because immediately, because that's a terminology that people are going to do largely in most of the
Yes.
cases, so that immediately after you're going to get into work, and then you start working for someone else. So therefore the behavior matters a lot, quite a lot, because people say, I think more than knowledge and skills, it's the attitude that matters.
Yes, yes.
Wherever you go in the world. So therefore, if you have to chisel out, some modules kind of thing, in a typical 4-semester course, or a program, so how do you want to go about, so that we know exactly at the end of this 4 semesters, this is the output that you want to bring in, because most of the time, and correct me again if I'm wrong, people don't take up all this. Maybe they just take up 1 or 2 sessions as a guest lecturer. But then what we are going is, we're going one step further and saying that, can we integrate this into core curriculum itself? Just the way, because there's something called organization behavior.
Yes.
And what does it contain? It contains largely about individual, and second thing was groups, which is like teams, and third one is organization. So these are the 3 basic components of, which is one of the only course, by the way, in the entire MBA curriculum throughout the world, which actually forces you to look inward. Because it talks about learning, it talks about perception, it talks about attitude, it talks about self-image, all such things. This is the only subject.
Yes.
But then how do you deliver the subject? You only teach the theory kind of thing. And people are not sensitized.
Yes.
But imagine if that subject can be taught through, I think, something like maybe drama, or you're saying the therapy kind of thing. Maybe people have used the music therapy. Now you're talking. I'm hearing for the first time drama therapy. Kind of thing. So why not? So can that subject be taught? And therefore, if at all that has to be done, how do you wish, some semblance of your eye, how this can be weaved into 4 semesters, so that there's a definite output at the end of 4 semesters?
Sure. So a lot of work has been done in this area in the past. I closely follow a great writer called John Dewey.
Okay.
He has worked a lot on progressive education for colleges and schools both.
Right.
And he says that schools and colleges are areas where social reforms can happen and should happen. So I follow his writings very closely, and to take this forward with the universities and the colleges and the management colleges, I think drama can look at 2 major aspects, which is one is the traditional management approaches like conflict management, leadership,
Right.
and the contemporary management
Right.
things like environmental awareness, compassion,
Right.
sensuality
Yeah.
is another beautiful concept which people don't feel. When I go to workplaces, I don't feel the sensuality between people. They don't feel that humanness with each other, and they might be great at their skills.
Right.
So if drama can work on traditional management approaches while also the contemporary management approaches. Yes. So drama can work on very hardcore behavior concepts like like empathy, compassion. It can work on also very visible concepts like delegation,
Very good.
conflict management, leadership.
Right.
Concept is so beautiful in drama. In fact, leadership we also teach with children and also with management institutes both. So I work with colleges where I work on also concepts like what you just said, self-image. Before you manage an image, you must know what image are we creating. So drama works on these levels also. And we also have psychodrama, which helps people to understand their style of communication, their style of leadership, discovering their own assessments of themselves as leaders further in their lives. So I think for management curriculum, if you were to look at it, we can move from a level A, which will just help them to talk and think about image, self-image, exploring their own communication with themselves, with the team. Then concepts like behavior, like conflict resolution, delegation, compassion, empathy, and trust.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So it can move from one level and moving on to
So
more
that can
deep
spread
concepts.
on all the 4 senses. And then can this during this kind, so maybe as we call it, this can also be used as an intervention tool, so that you can actually identify somebody who is lacking, let's say, self-confidence, or let's say somebody who has got overconfidence either way, or somebody who has ego, somebody has got a self-respect. I'm just giving an example. So can this also be used to figure out, okay, when profile people emotions or people behavior? So therefore, in the past exercise, broadly I'm speaking, in a typical, let's say, in a 60 classroom, you identify 30 people to be lacking these skills, and then the 30 people are having the skills, and they also lack, but then they are better off than these people. So these 30 people can be now, put through that therapy, so that they can actually, like you said sometime back, they can be transformed. And these 30 people who didn't have as bad as this one, but then they can be enhanced, they can be, they can be chiseled and maybe polished even better, so that at the end of this program, maybe, maybe first semester or second, or maybe at the end of 4th semester, these guys can be actually become very sophisticated, and they become almost like human scientists. Because if you understand yourself well, I think you can, because empathy comes mostly from not valuing yourself too much well. Because I think largely people are having this wrong sense of this one. So do you think it can be done that way? I can largely speaking, it can be used to identify your weaknesses, and it can also be used to build your strengths. So in other words, can this be called as converting all your adversity into an advantage kind of thing? Because it is there. Just that you give a different shape to it. For example, fear. I think now fear can also be like anxiety. It can be curiosity, inquisitiveness. You use whatever it is, but then the basic form is same. So therefore, can largely be used this way, that it can be used to identify people weakness and convert into strengths kind of thing?
Yes, yes, definitely. And we've worked on such what you just said. If you start with all the groups together, of
Right.
all the people in the groups, you would see in the first 2-3 sessions of drama, you would see a pattern emerging. Like when I've trained children, I've trained colleges students, in fact, corporates. So we see within the first 3 hours of drama session, you
Right.
see a pattern emerging.
Very
So I have also worked with academic staff in colleges,
Oh.
where I could see the pattern emerging of who is what in a team,
Right.
and what is the team dynamic,
Right.
who is being heard, who's not
Right.
being heard,
Right.
who feels overpowered, who
Right.
feels too wanted.
Right.
So you can see these pattern emerging. That's the beauty of any drama
Right.
game that you play.
Right.
And you would see, it is so visible, you would see there will be a section of people who would not talk much.
Right.
They are confident, but they will not talk much. The section of people who, with their ways of not expressing body language, they're the
Absolutely.
underdogs of the
Right.
group. Then there are some people who would speak,
They're vocal about it,
yes,
yeah.
who would be there and they want
Yeah.
attention.
Right.
And there would be some people who are okay, good with themselves.
Right.
So it deals a lot with emotional spectrum
Yeah.
and what you call the emotional quotient of
Right.
people.
Right.
The self-management and the relationship management, self-awareness,
Right.
social awareness,
Absolutely.
all those 4 graphs, you can see that. So therein, as a facilitator, drama facilitator, there are these people where I need to work on
Right.
their confidence. The others with the team inclusion. There are some
Right.
people who are excluded.
Right.
For what reasons? So
Absolutely.
the first few, in fact, hours can tell you a great pattern that is happening,
Right.
and therein we deduce and gather how we plan our
Right.
next sessions, what we need to work upon. Do we need to work upon self-respect for certain people?
Mhm.
Do we need to work upon? There will be some groups where some person will say, "Okay, can I lead this game?" Every time they would say, and then you have to tell them, "Okay, so why don't Mr. B lead the game?" And then you would see the Mr. A saying, "I have never been told that I should not lead."
Right. So
But
it
then you
decides.
have to, and
Right.
then that acceptance of and giving in.
Right.
So these emotions are very subtle, but they are happening, and the person knows, okay, let me give in. It's okay. I need to hear people
Right.
sometimes.
Right.
So it deals with lot of emotions and lot of layers.
So in other words, Chetna, is it also right to say that if you do it well, it actually leads you to what Daniel Goleman is one of the finest thinkers has said, is what is called as emotional intelligence.
Yes.
Do you think it makes a lot of sense? Because emotional intelligence also about self-awareness and also
Yes.
empathy is all where
Yes.
it's all about, because it's not good to know just about yourself and kind of thing. So does it make sense to say that if this drama therapy or the drama as a learning tool can actually lead to people to be very good in emotional intelligence?
Yes.
So that's what I
Yes.
think this generation is like.
It was some. I was with at a session at a big university day before yesterday, and I happened to meet the vice president of HR, and he was just sitting, a very great gentleman, and he just asked me, what if I were to ask you, what is that one thing that drama would as in your personal opinion, why do you do this drama
Right.
work?
Mm.
I said, the first without thought, the
Mm.
first answer which comes to my mind is connectedness, the connectivity,
Absolutely.
be it any age group. And as you just said, today's time where I live, and I
Right.
see adults, children, teenagers, adolescents, they are all losing connectivity. And when I go back, I think of my past. I have been raised in a very community living family. We are all Punjabis, and any point in time we have at least 10 to 12 people sitting in the house. Even if there's a fight, a small skirmish, suggestion, decision making, we have people.
Right.
And even if you're crying at one moment, the next second we have somebody who just rebel and be happy. But nowadays I feel sad for my own child that I'm not able to give him that wholesome atmosphere to grow, where you learn, you fail, but there are people, you have the support. But nowadays, as you just said, it's just, you want to play football? See, I just kicked. Where did you kick? In the PSP. I got football. I can shoot well. And you're like, all right.
Yeah.
So, and also we constantly hear cases of suicides rates. And this is, I think, if you go back to the roots of it, it is wanting to express. You fail sometime. And I read few months ago in Japan, a lot of households have kept pets with children because the parents don't have time to even touch their children. So the kids have pets so that they can at least touch. So I am scared in next 10 years what will happen. So drama builds, as you said, connectivity, connectedness is the first thing which happens through drama.
Because some of these expressions that you cannot do in normal human emotions, I think drama allows you to express. For example, let's say even varieties of crying.
Yes.
The example tears is the only, the outlet for crying is only tears. But then that can happen over a spectrum of things, the crying part of it. Because for example, in my case, for example, when I laugh too much, actually tears come. So people think that I'm crying. Well, it's not actually. But, okay. But I also cry as a child. Even today I cry when my daughter is hit with something. As a father, immediately I can't hold. And when an old student comes back and says that this is what I did because you told me, immediately and therefore we keep maybe with all your experience, I've done a small video sometime back with my colleagues in office on what is called is it good to emote in workplaces? Because I think in the name of professionalism, people don't emote. And then because you don't emote, you're actually suppressing all this. Where will they go? They have to be given an outlet. For example, let's say let's say you are my boss, right? And then you rebuke me in public for none of my mistakes. No, maybe somebody might say, and then let's imagine for a moment I just break down. Because I'm not able to hold, because I hold you very dearly, I hold you in high esteem, and then you're my boss, I really love working with you, and suddenly when you dump me in public, had it been in your own office, your own cabin, that's fine, maybe I could have hold, but when this happened around a lot of people, I couldn't hold it, so I break down. Now, somebody might say that, boss, this guy is immature guy, he doesn't have a stability, he's emotionally unstable and all that. Now, what's your point of view? Because I think the more I do that, so over a period of time, maybe yes, I think people might say that I'm mature, I'm socially, but then I strongly feel, but this is my personal opinion, that I think emote, that's your human nature. Because if I feel that, of course, because I'm not saying that everything is good or everything is bad, I think, is it good to emote in workplaces? Because I think we are human beings at that time. And then otherwise, it's like a machine, because it doesn't happen. Even if I hit a computer or a table, it doesn't respond. But a human being, if I'm hit, I'm going to respond because I'm a human being. So is it good to emote? And therefore, again, coming back to what we said sometime back about what you say, this drama, because somebody like me would love to do it, because only thing is, over a period of time, we become very, very sticky kind of thing. Therefore, drama requires completely, you have to dance. Whole body is in sync, so therefore you are in touch. So you're just doing what that it requires you to act or maybe dance or sit down, do some aerobics kind of, whatever it requires you to do that, so that you give that expression to that feeling, that because you need to express. So is it good to emote in workplaces?
Yes, so my answer is strongly yes. It is good to emote, and one must emote. As I started our conversation, when we started, I said we human beings are hardwired to emote. We have feelings, we have emotions. You must express, the first thing. And yes, when I lead a drama space, the first thing is there are no chairs in the drama space. So you have to sit on the ground. Yes, and you need to have that cutting chai and sit and have biscuits, parleji, and just be yourself and explore the child in yourself. Yes, and I've had people coming to me, maybe not with very hardcore feedback. They said, you know what, I am playing for past 3 hours and it's fun, and I suddenly feel like going back home and playing with my son again. I had one of the mothers, a colleague of mine, she has a 10-year-old son. I was training her to be a drama trainer, and she felt, she said, she was with an audit firm for 10 years, and she says, I have been so conditioned to just speak in a way, and even the eyeball movement has to be in a certain way. But while I was exploring this drama space, I feel a human again. I want to go back with my son Varun and just play with him. And I've become, and I see her profile pic change. She's wearing the clown hat, big specs, and with her son standing like that. And you see so much. It's not only her. Imagine the relationship back at home has changed so much.
absolutely.
So I think it's drama helps you to explore your
Right,
emotions,
right.
explore yourself, and it's highly therapeutic.
Right.
You know, I feel it is could be called as drama therapy. And
Right.